just speak. Well.
How's it going?
It's going. That's about all we can say about that. It's definitely going. Welcome, everyone. For all of you that are here in the live chats and all of you listening later on, happy Saturday or happy Sunday if you're on the other side of the world with Rekkr.
Mm-hmm.
How's your day going?
Oh, I mean, it's nearly lunchtime.
Mm. It's dinner
I've just
time
been.
here.
Mm,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
oh, I was just saying, I've just been studying my brains out.
Oh man, you didn't show up this stream without your brain again, did you? Like, this not gonna be good.
Um, I, I generally, I have a backup. It's just got a few less brain cells.
There are a whole lot of jokes in there, but considering you were studying all morning, I'm just gonna take pity on you and not go there. Just not go there. It just wouldn't be fair. But
That's fair.
anyway, so what are we talking about today, Mr. Man?
We are talking about chapter 11 of the 48 Laws. In chapter 11 is an interesting one. I know we say it a lot, but chapter 11 is certainly a law 11, I should say. It's
Mm-hmm.
certainly one that is seems a little bit counterintuitive actually. It's
Mm.
law 11 is learn to keep people dependent on you,
Like make them
which
like
yeah,
depend.
which kind
What?
of
Yeah,
it,
that sounds annoying.
well, it doesn't sound. it doesn't sound like anything to do with this book, because normally it was how to get to the top and how to, like, I guess, dominate.
Right. Like, and was it the last one getting everybody to do everything for you and taking the
Yeah,
credit for it? And now they want you to the way this is like the polar opposite. This is like an oxymoron. Like, wait, how are you supposed to do rule 10, which is let everybody else do the work and you take the credit for it, always take the credit for it. And now it's like make everybody depend on you to get it
yeah, because
done.
it kind of gives the impression that, you have to do everything for them, or they have to rely on you to do stuff.
Really? And how are you supposed to be your best and climb to the top when you got all these albatrosses hanging around your neck that you got to fix everything for everybody? I mean,
Exactly.
maybe I'm looking at it a little too harsh. Well, considering my life lately, who could blame me? But
Mm,
hmm, I don't know. At first glance, I'll admit it was a little off-putting, but you know, then we had our usual conversations about it, and you got me
mm-hmm.
seeing the light a little bit on it. Like it does make some kind of sense. So you'll have to
It
trust us,
does.
everyone. We'll get
Mm,
there eventually. Well, we understand in the beginning if it's painful for you, like it was for us, because we're just like, how the heck does he swing the pendulum like that? Like, and he does it like with no apologies. He just like, boom, here's law 10, do this. Here's
it,
law 11, which makes no sense with law 10, but don't go there. Just
yeah,
go
there
with
was no
just
like
go with it.
easing into it.
No,
It was
no.
just like, do this now, do this.
Yeah, do this and then now do the complete opposite. Like, let's do this. I'm just like,
Or
okay,
what's
but
essentially the complete opposite, yeah.
yeah. Mrs. Cassandra said there's a lot more people out there with 0 brain cells. So
Yeah, they share them.
yeah,
And even then, they often lose it.
you're right. You're right, Cassandra, because she said law 11 is just forget about law 10.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically how it read to me, like in the beginning. But let's give him his credit because Robert Greene is not actually silly. Like he does have a point. And I should give him
Yes.
a little a little more, and we should give the people bothering to watch us a little more than hey, just don't do it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we should actually go into it a little bit. So let's see what we have to offer. So basically, learn to keep people depending on you, like Rekkr said. Okay, and Green goes to explain that to maintain your independence, you must always be needed and wanted. The more you are relied on, the more freedom you have. Make people depend on you for their happiness and prosperity, and you have nothing to fear. Never teach them enough so that they can do without you. Now, for job security, this is probably 100% rings like accurate,
Absolutely.
right? Because like you don't want to tell anybody how to do your job as well as you do, and you don't want to give all your secrets away. You know, and
For the
yeah.
programmers out there, when they ask you to, just a little pro tip, when they ask you to make comments on all your coding and stuff, make them as only accessible, only understandable to you as possible, and you'll never lose a job. You will be the only one able to work the code. You'll never lose your position.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm sorry. Did you hear my phone? I'm sorry.
It's okay.
The rest of the house just decided to acknowledge there's anything going on.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Isn't that the way?
yeah. Yes. Yes, that's the way. But you know, that's it. Like program, we could learn from how programmers have to do it. Open source isn't always the way. Like, and even like something like a YouTube channel, like for me, right? I want to be really open about everything and show other people how to do things. And I share information a lot, right? But
Yep.
but I'm never gonna have share the core of how I do what I do. You know what I mean? Like I'm never gonna do that. Because like, well, that's for me, right? Like that's my thing. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah. Or like you too, right? You're not gonna give away all your secrets, right?
No,
Oh,
I mean I'm
yeah.
I'm working on something right now. I'm working on a little project right now, and there's a big part of me that wants to just share every little aspect about it and be like, "Hey, look, this is how you do it." But there's also a part of me that knows that if I give my secrets away, then how am I meant to actually turn it into a product?
Right. Or have it be unique or have a hook to it that makes it like a commodity that people want to have, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. It loses its uniqueness and you know, its shiny bauble thing that everybody
Mm-hmm.
wants. No, I get it. I totally get it. So there's a fine balance in between, that. So and like in personal lives, like we were talking about this before, right? Like they are we're out here talking about the 48 laws, knowing that it's geared towards stomping on everybody else and moving to the top. It's totally business
Absolutely.
oriented. It's totally based on the dog eat dog concept of the world, right? Which, if anybody knows the bear, I push back on that all the time. You know,
Oh
I
yeah.
I do agree that dogs got to nibble here and there, but I also know for a fact that if you handle your life in an aggressive manner in the dog eat dog world, you're going to get your ass chewed up eventually. You're going to be dog food eventually because that's the outcome. It's either you're on the top, and when you're on the top, you're not there very long. You turn into dog food sooner or later, just like everybody else you just did it to. Now, that's the rule. That's
Even
the laws of nature, right? Like that's how it goes. It's
yep. Well,
so as
even a feral dog needs to rely on other dogs at points in time.
it's true. And here's the point to that. As human beings, we're supposed to do a little bit better, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I I I don't find it comforting that we should strive to be an animal to win. Like knowing that we're human beings and we're given brain power and empathy to do better. Do you see what I mean? Like, that's the internal bear struggle for all of you that don't know out there. Like, like I know the
Yep.
way of the world, and I'm constantly pushing back against it, going, nah, like you don't have to be like that. We should do just a little bit better. We should try at least. We're not perfect. I'm not claiming to be, some higher aspiration of anything. I'm not. I mean, I'm human just like everybody else, make mistakes and everything. But we should actually look at them and try to do a little bit better. We actually take some accountability for our actions and how we move through the world and do a little bit better. And so that's why this book is so challenging for me, Recker, and you know it. It's just like
Mm-hmm.
I think this was his passive aggressive way of like teaching me a lesson. Like I don't know, because it's kind of difficult sometimes to translate these laws into something that can relate to everybody on a basic level that you can use every day or not use every day. And
mm.
most of the time just the knowledge of how it works, because Robert Greene does use, psychology, philosophy, history, to make his points. And he does know a lot about human nature. He has researched into it, and he uses a lot of the bare instincts of our human nature to prove his points as to why these laws work so well. And this one is works really well because once you are the go-to person for something, right? And you become known for
Mm-hmm.
it, everybody else stops trying for that. Like if there's
Mm-hmm.
somebody who's the best at something or who always has the right answer or always can do it 100%, right? You're
Absolutely.
not you're going to eliminate competition that way because more people are just going to go to you for it. So you got to get ready. You got to be willing to do it because you're going to be known for it. They're going to come to you for it, and nobody else is going to try. Like, it's going to be really
Yes.
hard to pass it off, or you're going to have to be responsible for it. So this particular law in your personal life is a double-edged sword, you know,
Absolutely.
because, like, do you want everybody depending on you to do everything? No.
No.
Hey, moms and partners out there, do you actually want to do everything? I mean, the parents out there, we're supposed to raise independent beings able to take care of themselves. We don't want to do everything for them. Like, we need them to learn how to clean a bathroom and wash dishes and do laundry, you know, go to the food store. Like, we need independent adults by the time they leave our house.
Yeah, you don't want a 30-year-old child still living in your house, unable to do anything,
Or expecting you to do everything.
and expecting you to do everything.
Right. Yeah. So that's what we mean. Like, it may not translate completely to private life, like personal relationships, unless, right? And I don't want to steal your thunder here, Record, because you actually brought this point up, right?
Mhm.
Unless we're talking about group endeavors, groups and of people who have a common goal. This works really
Yes.
well in that situation, just like it does in business. So, like, if you got your book club, and you got you're organizing for fundraising, or anything like that. Like you mentioned, a band. It works well
Yeah.
if if
Like
you're in a band.
more more like uh less of the idea, because this tends to give the impression of, I mean, obviously the whole book gives the impression of dominating.
Hmm.
And you would think with with Law 11, the idea would be, they need to rely on you heavily. But in real life, in an interpersonal relationship, or for instance, a band, um, you can't be the drummer, the guitarist, and the singer. Um, so I think for an interpersonal relationship, um, it's more uh, the idea of understanding what people need to rely on you for, and and know whether or not you are being relied upon for, I guess, too much, or if there is more that you can offer.
Hmm. Exactly. Like, don't want to get pigeonholed, right?
Mm.
Like, yeah, no, no, I get that. I totally. Yeah. Well, maybe we should read some of the examples to help. I mean, the, the examples had me going, oh my. Like,
Yeah, this.
um,
I
yeah,
hope people are wearing neck braces, because the whiplash is crazy in this story.
yes, and yeah, but we gotta go where Robert Greene goes first before we can pull you all back from the abyss. So let's go.
Mm-hmm.
So on that, Recker, I will let you take the first historical example. You get to do the transgression as usually. Recker
Mm.
always gets to read how they don't use it properly. Like, he likes that. And
Yeah, I'm a good example of how not to do things.
that's not true. You would, I know you would like people to believe that, but in all honesty, that is not you. Like, that is not the you I know. He's very solid. Like, actually, he is actually, don't choke people out there. He's actually the voice of reason more often than not. Like, I tell you, yeah. Well, but anyway, let let's you do the transgressions. And for those of you that want to read along or are going to be checking into this later, the PDF for the actual book is in the description of the YouTube video. I know we were also live on Kick and on Twitch, and you'll just have to pull up the YouTube video to find it. Because I don't know if the actual link will transcribe, but I will try to post it in the link for you and attempt it anyway. So, all right,
Mm-hmm.
I'll let you go ahead with that now.
Okay, so let's see how well I butcher all the words here. Transgression of the law. Sometime in the Middle Ages, a mercenary soldier, a condit, eh, condit, condottieri, uh, condo. This one's this. I'm going. I'm I'm getting off to a good start.
Do you want to? Okay, wait.
Condottieri.
Hold on a second. I didn't pull it up yet. Let me just give me a hand with that one. You mean the count? Yeah. Hold on.
The yeah.
The count of Carmagnola. That
No,
one.
no, no. The soldier. What's the
Oh, the
soldier called?
a condottieri. Yeah, it's
That's it. Yeah.
called
Okay.
condo, like
How
an
many
apartment of condo, right?
condottieri?
And then Thierry, and Thierry.
Condottieri.
Yeah,
How
condo Thierry.
someone? Okay. Anyone in the chat actually try and spell condottieri without looking at the word, except for you, Claire. I guarantee you, you won't. None of you will spell it correctly. Um.
Okay, hold on. Like, wait, I'll put it in the chat for them, like so
No,
they
don't put
know
it in
to.
the chat. Let them do it.
Just for a couple of seconds, I'll let them do it. Yeah,
Okay.
Mrs. Cassandra said, "Yeah,
Yeah,
not
yeah,
happening."
exactly.
Yeah, okay, see, this is it.
Condottieri.
Yeah, there it is, people. It's a wicked. It's a wicked,
Yeah.
wicked. Yeah, my phone will fix it. I know it'll probably turn it into something else. And I can only imagine what your phone would turn it into, Mrs. Cassandra. I know you too well. It would be humorous.
Anyway,
Thanks for posting the book link, Mrs. Cassandra. I'm going
a
to
mercenary
copy
soldier, a condottieri, whose name has not been recorded, saved the town of Siena
it. Mm-hmm.
from a foreign aggressor. How could the good citizens of Siena reward him? No amount of money or honor could possibly compare in value to the preservation of a city's liberty. The city, the citizens thought of making
Mm-hmm.
the mercenary the lord of the city, but even that they decided wasn't recompense enough. At last, one of them stood before the called assembly called to debate this matter, and said, "Let us kill him, and then worship him as our patron saint."
Okay. Yeah, because that's always good.
I mean, who doesn't want to be rewarded with being murdered?
Exactly. Yes.
And and
Fun
here's the
times.
crazy thing. And so they did. They did it. The Count of Carmagnola was one of the bravest and most successful of all the condottieri. In 1422, late in his life, he was in the employ of the city of Venice, which was in the midst of a long war with Florence. The Count was suddenly recalled to Venice. A favorite of the people, he was received with all kinds of honor and splendor. That evening, he was to dine with the Doge. Not, I can't say that. Not, not the Rocket Man.
No, but Doge is a thing. Yeah,
Um,
Doge is a thing.
yeah.
He's not the only Doge. He's just the most popular recent Doge. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
With the Doge himself. In the Doge's palace. On the way to the palace, however, he noticed that the guards were leading him in a different direction from usual. Crossing the famous Bridge of Sighs, he suddenly realized where they were taking him, to the dungeon. He was he was convicted on trumped up charges, and the next day in the Plaza San Marco, before a horrified crowd who could not understand how his fate had changed so drastically, he was beheaded.
What? Just like that, huh?
They really, I
Wow.
just, he,
Yeah,
I,
he's a little
I don't
drastic.
understand back in the day. I don't understand the whole back in the day. Let's give someone the honor of killing them,
Yeah.
because
You know what?
that's
It
the
does.
real honor, right?
I'm a kind of with Mrs. Cassandra right now. Like she's all doing anime. It's like Castlevania, the Netflix one. You know the one we watched, like
Mm,
with Alcazar. Anyway, it's when you said court, I thought of that show. I don't know why. I would too. And they did do a lot of beheading in that one, actually. Just not the same way. It's a
mm-hmm.
little more graphic. But anyway, uh, this seems very drastic for them to get their point across. Although I do understand. I do understand, like where he's coming from. Um, yeah. I wouldn't want to be the Saint of Siena or the Count at this point. Yeah.
No,
Hmm.
definitely not.
No, doesn't seem to be in your favor. But
Shall I go through with the interpretation?
oh, please do because it needs to be interpreted. Like, what the heck is green? Like, okay, green. Now you got our attention. Tell us why. Tell us why. Like, yeah.
Interpretation. Many of the great condottieri of Renaissance Italy suffered the same fate as the patron saint of Siena and the Count of Carmagnolia. They won battle after battle for their employers, only to find themselves banished, imprisoned, or executed. The problem was not ingratitude, it was that there were so many other condottieri, as able and valiant as they were. They were replaceable. Nothing was lost by killing them. Meanwhile, the older among them uh, had grown powerful themselves, and wanted more and more money for their services. How much better than to do away with them and hire a younger, cheaper mercenary? That was the fate of the Count of Carmagnolia, who had started to act impudently and independently. He had taken his power for granted without making sure he was truly indispensable. Such is the fate, to a less to a less violent degree, one hopes, of those who
Indeed.
do not make others dependent on them. Sooner or later, someone comes along who can do the job as well as they can. Someone younger, fresher, less expensive, less threatening. Be the be the only one who can do what you do, and make the fate of those who hire you so intertwined with yours that they cannot possibly get rid of you. Otherwise, you will some day be forced to cross your own bridge of sighs.
Oh boy. Mm.
I've
Well,
I've been
it.
in a job where I was very easily replaceable. It's very common for that to happen. Often, most jobs, it's very difficult to put yourself in a position where you can't be replaced.
Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, like Mrs. Cassandra said, they're always looking for younger, cheaper workers to do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Although some companies, in once you get a little bit higher up, it depends on the type of work that's being done. Um, it does actually cost more to train people to a certain extent. To, like, if you're talking assembly lines, if you're talking like management policy and procedure, it does take a bit of effort and time to train and can be costly to replace employees.
Engineering.
Yeah, and just in benefits alone, in structure, on setting up for payroll and dealing with all of the companies, it does cost a lot to hire somebody. So,
Mm-hmm.
making that revolving door is a bit of an expense. So they kind of weigh it out, you know. Um, but button pushers, paper shufflers, they're replaced quite often. I don't
Mm-hmm.
even think. I mean, these days you'll notice nobody wears name tags anymore because it's just too expensive to keep replacing the name tags with new name tags,
Yep.
for the employees. Like nobody wears name tags anymore. I don't know. Did they? I mean, you may not remember. You're a bit younger than I am. That name tags used to be a thing, especially in customer service or even in doctor's office. This is stuff you knew who you were talking to all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, mm-mm, it's just you're referred to by the position, you know. Um, yeah, nameless.
Yep.
Well, yeah, that revolving door can be expensive, but there is something to be said if you have a unique skill or quality that you actually exemplify it, that you are your own best advocate for what your talents are. I mean, if we take anything from this chapter, it would be that first. Um, the mercenaries out there, the poor count and the saint, they were laid out because they weren't any different or didn't emphasize anything they did different than any other count or saint. Okay, that they weren't necessary. They were not even looked at as different than anybody else, regardless of their achievements. And that was a problem because there was so many of them, you know. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if the count had expressed more gratitude and personality or talked more about he did things a little bit different, if he had positioned himself to be different than the rest, he probably would still have his head. Mhm. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know about the Saint. It seemed like they were pretty just bent on getting rid of him, make him
You
a
mean
martyr.
you mean
Yeah.
rewarding him?
Yes, with sainthood, but although
Yeah.
no life, yes, because that was a gift. Yes. Is that you or me?
With what?
I hear a big buzzing. Take whatever it is near your microwave, please.
Ooh.
There's a
Uh.
big hum
Oh.
coming in, really loud.
Did that stop?
It Yeah, it did.
Excellent. Sorry.
Well, yeah, that's okay. So you put your phone next to it again.
No, I stood on the cable. My foot was touching the cable. So
How dare you?
so the buzzing is I have my guitar cable plugged into my audio interface, and because I don't want to have to keep crawling around to plug it in and take it out, I just
Wait,
unplug
wait,
it
like
and turn it down.
be honest. It's so that you can break into song whenever you feel like it. We know. We know.
I mean, yes. But yeah, sometimes I'll accidentally put my foot on it and it starts to buzz.
Yes.
For the longest time, we thought it was my phone.
Yes, because it did coincidentally go to when you were moving your phone around on your desk.
Yeah, ironically, what the reason we thought it was my phone was because every time Claire had told me that I needed to move my phone, I moved my feet off and away from the plug without realizing it to move my phone so the buzzing stops.
Mm-hmm. So the correlation was
It
there.
was like we thought it
Yeah.
was for like 2 years, at
Yes.
least.
Yes. God, we've got some history. Shh. Let's
Mm-hmm.
see, seriously. Boy, yeah. Mrs. Cassandra said your look like it did not bleed out that she heard on YouTube. I
Oh,
don't know
okay,
about the
excellent.
others, other platforms, because we're also live on Twitch and Kick. But are we live on yours? I'm not sure. I don't
No, I'm currently still I'm recording my little product.
project. Your project
Yes,
is. Oh, sorry.
which is
I should have put two and two together there, but I didn't. No, sorry about that.
it's going 7 hours so far. Still going.
I'm so I'm so used to you being able to do anything on your PC and like multiple things at the same time. They like it never occurs to me. Like me, I can only do one thing at a time. But
Mm.
but you're like Mr. Multitask. Yeah. Like you're so right, Mrs. Cassandra. If they wore the name tags, it would be like Karen's got your name and she's going to corporate. Absolutely. Yeah, we don't want that. We definitely don't want that. No, no. I don't know. So now that we know the transgression on how the law, when you don't use it, like what happens, like you lose your head and your life, at least back then in the 1800s. So let's talk about let's talk about observing it. Oh, oh, and we're gonna go to Prussia to to someone we've talked about before. So in the observance of the law, when Otto von Bismarck became a deputy in the Prussian parliament in 1847, he was 32 years old and without an ally or a friend. Looking around him, he decided that the side to ally himself with was not the parliament's liberals or conservatives, not any particular minister, and certainly not the people. It was the king, Frederick William IV. This was an odd choice, to say the least, for Frederick was at a low point of his power. A weak, indecisive man, he consistently gave in to the liberals in Parliament. In fact, he was spineless and stood for much what Bismarck disliked, personally and politically. Yet Bismarck courted Frederick night and day. When other deputies attacked the king for his many inept moves, only Bismarck stood by him. Finally, it all paid off. In 1851, Bismarck was made a minister in the king's cabinet. Now he went to work. Time and again, he forced the king's hand, getting him to build up the military, to stand up to liberals, to do exactly as Bismarck wished. He worked on Frederick's insecurity about his manliness, challenging him to be firm and to rule with pride. And he slowly restored the king's powers until the monarchy was once again the most powerful force in Prussia. When Frederick died in 1861, his brother William assumed the throne. William disliked Bismarck intensely and had no intention of keeping him around. But he also inherited the same situation his brother had, enemies galore who wanted to dibble his power away. He actually considered abdicating, feeling that he lacked the strength to deal with his dangerous and precarious position. But Bismarck insinuated himself once again. He stood by the new king, gave him strength, and urged him into firm and decisive action. The king grew dependent on Bismarck's strong arm tactics to keep his enemies at bay. And despite his antipathy towards the man, he soon made him prime minister. The two quarreled often over policy. Bismarck was much more conservative, but the king understood his own dependency. Whenever the prime minister threatened to resign, the king gave in to him, time after time. It was, in fact, Bismarck who set state policy. Years later, Bismarck's actions as Prussia's prime minister led the various German states to be united into one country. Now Bismarck finagled the king into letting himself be crowned Emperor of Germany.
I love
Yet it
that
was
word.
emperor?
Finangled.
Oh, finangled. Yeah.
Yes.
Yet it, yet it was really Bismarck who had reached the heights of power. As right hand man to the emperor and as imperial chancellor and knighted prince, he pulled all the levers. Yeah. So Bismarck was the great finangler.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good story there because, like, that tells you, like, he aligned himself to the person in power and became the person behind the man, the one
And that's
making all the
often
moves.
how it goes, right?
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
in nearly everything. It's never generally in everything, including the word the jobs that we can't talk about on the channel, otherwise we get
Oh, the
thrown
ones
into
that
the naughty
YouTube does.
bin.
Yeah, YouTube, like, YouTube likes to keep us in the naughty bin. Whenever we talk about, are you ready? Hold on to your seat. No.
Uh, uh,
Politics.
oh no.
Claire said the P word.
Claire said the
Just don't say.
Mom, Claire said the P word.
Just don't say the T word.
YouTube.
Anyway, we're not going to delve into that, but that is one of the positions and one of the jobs, or actually aspirations, that one can have, that where this would be primarily the focus. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's
What?
often not the person who's the front and center.
Yeah, sometimes we often hear it, like, not to be misandrist or anything, but we often hear about the woman behind the man who made things happen. And there's often a man behind the man. There's a person, a human, another, who is doing the work, setting the policy, laying the foundation, being the great support system, the one who actually makes the things happen. And then there's the face of the project, whoever's standing in front, whoever that may be.
The
Well,
person who gets the
yeah.
first bullet if everything goes wrong.
Exactly. The shield.
The shield, yeah.
The shield is the person who stands out there and takes all the heat and all of the, yes, so they do their contribution, believe me, at great risk also. Um, but there sometimes is, depending on others, to get it all done. Maybe one person in this actual law emphasizes there's no problem with that. Being number two with that kind of power is a great thing. Number
Yep.
two can actually have more power than number one in a lot of cases, So especially
Absolutely.
especially when it came to Bismarck, you know. But damn, he was a prima donna too. Well, if I don't get my way, I'll leave. What are you gonna do then? I hate that. I really do hate that
Mm-hmm.
very much. But hey, it worked for him. It worked for him. Yeah. So I'm gonna have to say the P word again. It's in the interpretation. So hold on to your hat there, Rekker.
Oh dear. What if I'm not wearing one?
Well, I don't know. Naked heads abound. Like, what can I say? You know, most young and ambitious politicians looking out on the political landscape of the 1840s Germany would have tried to build a power base among those with the most power. Bismarck saw different. Joining forces with the powerful can be foolish. They'll swallow you up, just as the Doge of Venice swallowed up the Count of Carmagnola. No one will come to depend on you if they are already strong. If you are ambitious, it is much wiser to seek out weak rulers or masters with whom you can create a relationship of dependency. You become their strength, their intelligence, their spine. What power you hold. If they got rid of you, the whole edifice would collapse. Necessity rules the world. People rarely act unless compelled to. If you create no need for yourself, then you will be done away with at the first opportunity. If, on the other hand, you understand the laws of power and make others depend on you for their welfare, if you can counteract their weakness with your own iron in blood, in Bismarck's phrase, then you will survive your masters as Bismarck did. You will have all the benefits of power without the thorns that come from being a master. Hmm, That that's clever.
That is very clever.
Yeah. Would you like to read the Machiavelli quote? Like, you know.
Yes. So, thus a wise prince will think of ways to keep his citizens of every sort and and under every circumstance dependent on the state and on him, and then they will always be trustworthy.
Hmm. I wonder. Here's some good advice. Here's a good suggestion for you from Couch. He wants you to go out
Uh,
into the street and find someone wearing a hat and hold on to them.
that's going to
They'll
take me a while. I live out in the middle of nowhere.
they'll know what it's about. I'm sure. Like, yeah, I'm sure. You know what's gonna happen, Couch? You're gonna get him arrested. Like he's gonna. We're gonna be getting a text message that he has to spend the weekend in jail. Yeah.
Crowdfunding my bail.
We're gonna have to crowdfund his bail. No one would believe me. Like, it's like you might be there for a while. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Not many Americans give up cash for hat grabbers.
No. Thankfully, I would. Thankfully, I don't live in America. If I grab someone's hat,
Yeah, but if I have to fundraise for you, it's gonna be here. Like, yeah,
good
yeah,
point.
yeah. So, yeah, uh,
Hopefully,
yeah,
it'll be a good hat then.
yeah. Oh, I missed this comment above from him. Problem with name tags is that you either aren't around long enough to bother printing one, or you're there for so long everyone knows your name without needing it. Exactly. It's just not cost effective to use them anymore. It's just not. Yeah, Mrs. Cassandra, that wasn't the P word. Use the wrong P word. YouTube actually doesn't care. You know that if I say that word. They don't care. You've done enough shows with me, the funny shows in Mayhem. They don't care if I do that. They really care if I mention the T word. Yeah, they really hate when I get into the P word. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when we get into like what does this actually mean, right? Like we've got to talk about like when he gets into his keys of power, you know. Green Green says that the ultimate power is often to get people to do as they wish. And when you do that without having to force people or hurt them, then they will absolutely give you anything you want, you know. When they feel like that you are benefiting them in some way and in like, a really positive manner, you know, they're going to give you anything you want. And then your power becomes like what he says is,
Indispensable.
yeah, untouchable. Like nobody can, do anything about it. Oh, but, you know, creating a relationship with someone on dependence can be risky in personal life. Um, but not so much in business. Like, highlighting your worth to someone in business or in any kind of endeavor where you've got a common goal is optimal, actually. It's like what you should do, you know. You got to establish those kind of relationships to enable to have your position in a group, you know, to in some way take the upper hand.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like Bismarck didn't bully or threaten. Well, he did threaten to leave after he had his position anytime he didn't get his way. But I mean, to get his position, he didn't threaten or bully or, you know, he let them see how useful he was to them. And they're the ones that put him in a position of power. And
Mm-hmm.
that's how you have to do it. You have to let people recognize what you do for them, what you mean to them, what value you have to them and their endeavors, right? And how you fit into accomplishing the mutual goal, you know.
Exactly.
So many people think that the ultimate power is to be independent, but
There is something to that. There is merit to being fully independent.
yes, but you have to remember that true power, real power, involves a relationship between people. You're always going to need, like Green says, allies and pawns, or even weak masters, those above you that are less, you know, to achieve it, to keep it.
Hmm.
Power doesn't exist in a vacuum. Power involves others. You have to be above others. You have to have others involved. You know, it's not something you can do solo. Uh, so if you're truly independent, where's the power?
There's a reason why a lot of famous people have bodyguards.
For
Bodyguards
power?
are an excellent example of a necessary dominating power. They aren't necessarily they aren't necessarily above the person who needs the bodyguard, but they are in one aspect.
Hmm. Hmm.
So that a bodyguard actually exemplifies the rule quite nicely.
Yeah, he kind of does. You know, the example that Green uses, like for the keys, is that he says that the completely independent man would live in a cabin in the woods, right, all by himself. He'd have freedom
Hmm.
to come and go and do anything he wants, do as he please. But in the end, would he have any power? No. The best you can hope for is that others will grow so dependent on you that you enjoy a kind of reverse independence. Their need for you actually frees you. Their need for you actually gives you the security. We all know that if you've got a skill at your work that others don't, that you've got more job security. You know,
Hmm.
if you do something a little bit different or you've got it down pat, you've got a little more job security. You know, as if that exists in today's environment, but you know what I mean. Like it gives you that edge. And when it comes to job security, Green tells a great story in the chapter that I'm going to relay to you because it's just perfect as far as job security. Wouldn't you agree, Rekkr? It's
Hmm.
kind of kitschy funny too. It goes back to Louis XI, back in the 1400s. He was called the Spider King of France, and he had a weakness for astrology. And he kept a court astrologer, of course, that he admired um, until he heard a story one day about the astrologer predicting that a lady of the court would die within a few days, and then she actually did. It came true. And this terrified the king, King Louis. He was thinking that either this man may have murdered her to make himself look more powerful with his prophecies, or that he was that accurate. Either way, if he had if he was so adversed in this science and his powers would actually threaten the king himself, you know. So the king didn't know what to do. So one day he decided to actually just ask the astrologer, you know, straight out. He was going to put a test to him, but he had told all the servants and all of his vizrins around him that if he gave a certain signal while he was talking to the astrologer, that they were to pick up the astrologer, carry him to the window, and hurl him to the ground, dispose of him like to death, because like the king was going to try to figure out if his power was real or not, or if he had anything to fear. So when the astrologer showed up to talk to the king, he asked him, he said, he said to the astrologer, You claim to understand astrology and to know the fate of others. So tell me what your fate will be and how long you have to live. Now he asked him this, knowing that he could at any moment have him killed. And he planned on having him killed. But the astrologer cleverly answered, I shall die just 3 days before you do, your majesty. Which made the king never give the signal to toss him out the window, because if he did have power, he would have sealed his own fate, and the king would have died 3 days later, or so he believed.
Mm-hmm.
So this astrologer survived Louis by many, many years, actually. Um, the, the Spider King from that day forward went out of his way to protect this astrologer because he knew if the astrologer died, that he might die within 3 days. That was the prediction. And since his predictions were coming true, the king had no choice but to act accordingly to not tempt fate, you know. He lavished this astrologer with gifts and had him tended by the finest court doctors and everyone, you know. Um, he took care of him as long as he could, as long as the king was alive. And it comes out that the king did die first, after all, and the astrologer actually survived him by several years, proving his prophecy powers were not as great as his mastery of power itself of the situation. Because he truly did have power over the king at that point. And I think he knew what the king was up to. And it's a good story. As a number two who just like outwitted the number one. Um, I don't know. I thought it was pretty clever.
That is one of the smartest astrologers I could ever imagine.
He may not
Because
have
this
been
is,
able to read the future, but he sure could read the room. I'll tell you that. He must have read the book. You
well,
know, he
here's
definitely.
here's the thing though. Either the astrologer knew something, either the astrologer really was a magician and really could understand when things were going to happen. So he could have, for instance, seen that this person, this lady, was actually going to die soon.
Right.
Like
Yep.
he could have seen that she might have been unwell or she was showing signs of illness.
Mhm.
So he could have easily just said, "Oh yeah, she's going to die soon,"
Yeah.
knowing full well that would cement his place, which then means that he knew that if the king ever wanted to kill him, he would have a scapegoat out of like not dying
Mhm.
by just saying, if you kill me, you're going to die 3 days later.
Yep. Yeah.
Absolute genius.
I know that's very, very clever, you know. And then by the time the king dies, like you know, the king's dead. He doesn't care anymore if the astrologer's still alive and the prophecy's not true. Like there's
Yep.
nothing to be done about it, you know. And yeah, and he had already enjoyed a life of being cared for in having power in the court with the king. Um, similar thing in these symbiotic relationships, right? Like because another example that Green uses is back in the Renaissance, that in an obstacle to a painter's success at that time was always to finding the right patron, somebody that was going to pay to support your arts, you know, to commission big things. You know, remember like Michelangelo's making these incredible statues in you know, paintings and stuff. And you need the resources to do it. And he was with Pope Julius II at that time, was his patron. And they used to argue all the time. They didn't get along very well. They, if one said left, the other one said right. They had opposing. They quarreled a lot. And once they quarreled over a building of the Pope's marble tomb, and Michelangelo got pissed off because he wanted it one way and the Pope wanted it another, and so he left like Rome in in disgust. And to the Pope is a very powerful figure, okay, and so people were really surprised that the Pope actually went running after Michelangelo, begging and pleading for him to stay and come back and to work on this. Because the Pope realized that Michelangelo, as the artist, as the one who could accomplish all of this, had a unique talent in that, well, the Pope wasn't actually the one with the power because Michelangelo could clearly find another patron. But could the Pope find another artist of Michelangelo's caliber? Right? So, like, you know, you don't necessarily have to be a Michelangelo, but you have to have that thing that they need. And you have to learn to cultivate it and promote it in yourself so that people are aware of it. And I think that's the message of the chapter is to find that thing that you do better or different in the situation that you are and make sure you're cultivating it and putting it forward and that you're known for it. Like self promote, like make it known, put it out there.
And that it comes across as being just as important
Right.
or
Exactly.
or very important.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you have to, you don't have to have the talent of Michelangelo like the book says,
You just
but
have to appear to have the talent.
you have to appear to have it or you have to have some skill set that sets you apart from the crowd. You got to create a situation in which you can latch on to another person that can use these abilities and secure your position. um if in reality you're not actually indispensable or you don't have this great talent, like you said, you have to have the appearance of specialized knowledge and skill, um
Mm-hmm.
which gives you leeway in your ability and kind of deceives those around you a little bit, but it leaves, it it leaves the person that doesn't actually, want to use those skills a little more vulnerable because of the faked variety. But um, it's always within your power to make your skill indispensable. Like you could, learn more about what is needed once you're in the position, and enhance it.
And,
Um,
and remember, people, just to make sure we're clear about this. We're not talking about interpersonal relationships in this
yes,
case. We're talking about business relationships and business situations.
or common goal endeavors, like not everything's like a business, but like say you're advocating for, a protest or some kind of charity or something like that. Like you got a common goal that a group of people are working for. It's definitely for group settings,
Mm-hmm.
with a common goal. Like um how another way that Green does it, right, is like that's the next slide, the creeping ivy slide. Like this one's good. Um do you want to read that one?
Absolutely. Vines with many thorns. Below the roots grow deep and wide. Above, the vines push through bushes, entwine themselves around trees and poles and window ledges. To get rid of them would cost such a toll and blood, it is easier to let them climb.
Hmm. That's what Green means by intertwining fates. Like that creeping ivy, you wrap yourself around the source of power so that it would cause great trauma to cut you away. You don't necessarily have to wrap yourself around the master or the person in charge. Anybody in the hierarchy will do, as long as he or she too is indispensable in the chain. So what they're saying is you don't have to be the number two. Like say you're coming into a company, you just learn to latch yourself up the ladder to those that matter, that are a little less dispendable than the people at the bottom. Do you know what I mean? as you're
If
moving
you're
your way up.
if you're indispensable to the indispensable, then you will
That's security.
remain
Yeah,
indispensable.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Hmm. And they use other examples that go into politics that we're not going to talk about.
Yeah.
Because it's bad enough we said the P word. We don't want to actually address the P word, you know. But,
No.
yeah, Well, Green does give us one last warning in here. He said, like in the Keys of Power, he mentions, don't imagine that your master's dependence on you will make him love you. Be forewarned. In fact, he may even resent and fear you. But as Machiavelli said, it's better to be feared than loved. Fear you can control, love never. Depending on an emotion as subtle and changeable as love or friendship will only make you insecure. Better to have others depend on you out of fear of the consequences of losing you than out of love of your company. And this is why Rekkr and I keep stressing this does not pertain to your personal relationships, like your family, your
Yes.
friends, your partners,
What
spouses, boyfriends, girlfriends, whatever. Yeah.
what is the old saying? It's a fine line between love and insanity.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. This is true. Yeah, I don't even want to go there. I don't even want to go there. What? That is true. So, so, so true. Oh, but I don't know. Like, I think it has value in business, absolutely. Becoming indispensable to anyone in business is always a plus. I mean, being known for your skill, being known for doing it different or better than somebody else is a win win no matter what, right? I mean, that makes sense. Trying to actually apply it to everyday life is a little more difficult. Ex, you know, Except for the fact that to be known for what you do well is never a bad thing, you know. But I can assure you, if you're known for making the best banana bread, every time they have a PTA or some kind of fundraiser, they're going to call you to be making the banana bread. So be prepared. Be prepared on what skill you put out there, you know. Well, you know, also there was the Baltasar Gracian quote that he used in the book, and it said that make people depend on you. More is to be gained from such dependence than courtesy. He who has slaked his thirst immediately turns his back on the well, no longer needing it. When dependence disappears, so does civility and decency, and then respect. The first lesson with experience should teach you is to keep hope alive, but never satisfied, keeping even a royal patron ever in need of you. And that's from Baltasar Gracian in the 1600s. It's got the thing of being taken for granted. Don't we all have a tendency to take certain things for granted, like things that happen all the time and things that people do all the time.
Absolutely.
Right. And so you want to make sure you position yourself that you are not taken for granted. Because when you get into something that like that where it just happens automatically and you're not being appreciated for it, they don't notice anymore. So your power is not there. Your security in your position is not there anymore because they're not even noticing what you're doing. Then your job is to make sure that they are fully aware of how valuable you are to them at all times. Do
Mm-hmm.
not let them get into the position where they think that, oh, it's just always going to be like that and I don't have to do anything. Now that part works in a personal relationship. like, like that part works. Like both parties should work on never taking the other one for granted, because as soon as you start making
Absolutely.
an assumption that everything's going to always be that way, you stop trying and you stop recognizing value. And when you stop recognizing the value someone has in your life, you have a great risk of losing it. And what good
Mm-hmm.
does it do you to recognize the value of somebody in your life after they're gone? Really, what point is there to that? Right? It's a much more beneficial to recognize the value people have in your life while they're with you, because once they're gone, they're not in your life, you know, and the value to you is diminished and actually goes to somebody else. So I don't know. I thought that one spoke lightly because that one works both interpersonally and in business. You know, you don't want them to get so comfortable that they don't think they have to work for keeping you there. You know,
Yes.
yeah.
I guess in interpersonal life, it's more of a um, it's more of a goal to to walk with them equally than to want to have them rely on you.
Yes. Yeah. That makes perfect sense. You know, it's you don't want it to, such a dependence that people aren't doing anything for themselves, like when you're talking about interpersonal lives and all, but to be helpful and to be encouraging and to balance out the skill sets. I mean, in every relationship, somebody does something better than somebody else, Um,
Absolutely.
and but also the tides change. There's all these ups and downs in life, and situations change all the time. Just being flexible enough to not pigeonhole each other into that, you know, it's like, say, like, okay, let's, like, I gotta make it really simple. I gotta drill that one down to be real simple. So, okay, you and I live in the same apartment, okay? And you are the dishwasher, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then you have an accident at work and you break your wrist.
Sounds like me. Yes.
It
Yes.
does sound plausible, doesn't it, all of a sudden? Okay, so now you have a broken wrist. Is it fair that you're the one responsible for washing all the dishes right now?
No, probably not.
Right. So I should step in and wash the dishes, and perhaps maybe you walk the dog because you have your
Mm,
other arm. You could walk the dog. You got your other arm. So like,
exactly.
you can walk the
Although
dog.
knowing me, it wouldn't just be
Then
my
you're gonna end
wrist that
up
I'd break. It
you
would
would end up
probably be
breaking your leg while you're out
I'd
there walking the dog.
yeah, I'll or I'll just break both my wrist and my ankle somehow.
But yes, but lucky for you, I'm so flexible that in that case, I will wash the dishes and walk the dog, and then you will read all the stories.
I can do that.
There you go. See? Like, see, we could work it out, right? Like, so the point being, I would pick up the things that you can't do, and then you would like try to make a little effort to pick up something on the other side, but still, not too much because we do going to give you the time to heal. And it's not your
Exactly.
fault, yeah, that all of this happened.
It
But
probably would
yeah,
be my fault somehow.
yes. But when you do get better, are you going to expect me to
Yes.
continue washing the dishes?
No, of course not.
Oh wait, human nature. You are gonna try. You are a man, right? You are gonna
I
like.
mean, okay,
I
you
mean, you
call
are gonna
man.
kind of forget for a while that it was your responsibility to begin with, and just like
I
see
mean,
how long you can go before I actually remind you that no, like you're
I
all bitter
I
now.
mean,
Get in there.
there is the physio that's required after the healing process. Can't do anything too strenuous once the cast is
Okay.
off.
Oh yes, like we want to make sure it's healed properly. All right, we give you a little bit of a grace, but that ain't gonna last very long. But yeah, no, actually we're making fun. But of course, like, then it would switch back. But that's what I mean by the ups and downs. And you have to be flexible to what people do. Like, and we're using like chores as the example, but just replace those with skills in the things that people do better or not than somebody else,
Mm,
or like to do more. Like, when you're splitting stuff up like that, you're usually like, the people that don't bother with it too much and everything. Like, somebody might be a better cook than the other one, you know and if there's two people and one's a better cook, why make the other one do the cooking? Really,
Exactly.
it's kind of self-defeating, you know what I mean? Like take advantage of the skills, you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Unless
Well,
they're a chef, in which case, good luck getting them to cook anything other than carbonara.
but can you blame them? What
No,
chef
absolutely not.
wants to work all day and then come home and feed people and eat? Like, no, they do not.
Exactly my
Like,
point.
exactly. Yeah. But there are people like myself. I'm not a chef, but I love to cook. Like my language of love is food. Like I love to feed people. Or I did. I don't do it as often anymore. It doesn't mean I don't love people. It just, you know, doesn't work out that way. But it definitely is part of my personality, part of me. You know, is to feed people. So I would enjoy it. Like I don't think it's a chore to prepare the daily meals or anything like that. Like, I actually look forward to it. So
Where else could this actually be applicable?
yeah, that's a good question. I'm hoping you could answer it. Mm. Me too,
Hmm.
Mrs. Cassandra. I'd rather do the cooking than the cleaning. You're so right, Couch. Fear will keep the systems in line. Fear of the empire and of this battle station. Exactly.
I see what you did there. That's a Star Wars quote,
It
right?
is a Star Wars quote. Exactly. Yep. Yep. You're right, Couch, about the Michelangelo in the Pope. It's true. It's not so easy to buy your own Sistine Chapel. Like that Pope kind of had to bow down to Michelangelo a little bit there. Yeah, you can't exactly do it. Yep. Yep, Mrs. Cassandra, I did too. I could feel it. I could feel it was a Star Wars. Said by the guy who totally didn't die on said battle station. This is great. Yep. There was a lot of fear. He didn't die. This is true. This is true. Hmm. Well, on
Mm-hmm.
that one, do you want to read the reversal? Let me pull it up.
Yeah.
Let's do something a little different. We'll reverse our dishwashing theory here.
The reversal. The weakness of the weakness of making others depend on you is that you are in some measure dependent on them. But trying to move beyond that point means getting rid of those above you. It means standing alone, depending on no one. Such is a monopolistic
Mono,
drive of a J.P. Morgan or a John D. Rockefeller.
mm-hmm.
To drive out all competition, to be in complete control. If you can corner the market so much better, if you can corner the market so much better, no such independence comes without a price. You are forced to isolate yourself. Monopolies often turn inwards and destroy themselves from the internal pressure. They also stir up powerful resentment, making their enemies bond together to fight them. The drive for complete control is often ruinous and fruitless. Interdependence remains the law. Interdependence, a rare and often fatal exception. Better to place yourself in a position of then mutual dependence then, and to follow the critical law rather than to look for its reversal. You will not have the unbearable pressure of being on top, and the master above you will, in essence, be your slave, for he will depend on you.
Mm-hmm. The trick is, like it says, is to not make it look like that's what it is. Like to try to stave off the resentment that the number one will have, knowing that you have so much power that they depend on you, right?
Yep.
Like, it kind of goes with the way I think, right? This actually made me feel better because I do believe in the interdependence of everything. That yes, I may have a great skill and you need me, but there's things you do too, and I need you. Like I need this job, like right? Like if you're
Mm-hmm.
in a job and there's a number one and a number two, like yes, I need this for my resume. I need people to look at me as if I've got the power here, like I've got the skill. There is some interdependence there. In the trick is to let the number one feel it that you do need them in some way also, but that interdependence will lead to even more job security, even more power on your end, because there will be less risk of them finally getting pissed off with everybody going to you for everything and you getting the credit for everything, and the resentment builds up, in the fear and dislike will ultimately end in off with your head, because
Yes,
as soon as
the
soon as
greatest honor.
right, off with your head. The greatest honor to be beheaded for knowing too much or doing too much. Yes. Um, but also because anytime anything went wrong, if they've got this resentment and they got this like thing going on with them, they're going to be looking to pin it all on you any chance that they get. Like
Mm-hmm.
they're always going to be looking for the mistake. They're always going to be looking for stuff to stuff you up, just to make themselves feel better, because in essence, even in business, we are our own worst enemies. Our petty jealousies and human nature kind of take over our business instincts sometimes, and they do stupid stuff you know
There was a there's actually a very good example of someone trying to use the people below them as a scapegoat. That didn't
yeah,
work very well quite recently.
you want to tell us?
Um, so for anyone that knows much about Twitch creators, there was a situation recently where there was a exorcism of voltage that was quite shocking to mostly a pet,
uh
and
oh, you go
and
in. Okay, you going in. Okay, all right.
and one of the friends of said Twitch streamer who um electrocuted their pet uh
Live on
ha-
stream. Yeah.
live on stream and then tried to lie about it, um had a podcast with this had a podcast with the streamer,
Mm-hmm.
and the podcast actually didn't end up coming out, and the streamer, I believe, the streamer who was running the podcast, I believe, was Pokimane. I may be
Yeah,
wrong.
it was Pokemon and Lily Chu. And let's
Yeah,
just mention the name. We can mention the
yeah,
name. I
yeah,
mean, it's not like the P word, although he is a P, the other P.
yeah.
Oh, you said you were going
So
to Google me
for
if I
anyone
got
that doesn't
crazy,
know, it
right?
was
It was Hassan.
Hasanabi
It was
had
Hasanabi,
basically,
Hassan Piker, like the
yeah,
terrorist supporter that we all talk about sometimes around here. You
yeah,
know, we listen. He's allowed to do any whatever he wants, but we have no great love. But anyway, the
and
dog was
there's no
wearing a collar,
a
and
shock collar, yes.
he's doing place training, and of course, like he the dog went to step off the bed that he's laying on for 6 to 8 to 9 hours a day while Hassan streams, because the dog has to stay there the whole time. Not allowed to go get water, not allowed to lay on the floor to cool off, not allowed to move. Every time the dog
We
gets
should
off the
say it
thing,
appears that way.
it appears okay. I think I can confidently say that when
For
there's
legal purposes,
12,
it appears
12
that way.
there are at least 12 streams where it's been clipped that he has used some type of device to get that dog back on the bed. And so now he's trying to say it's a vibration
No,
collar,
no.
it's not a shock collar,
Now
right?
he's trying to say that the collar wasn't even there.
Yeah, but before that, he said it was a vibrating collar, and he
Yeah, before
showed
there he
an
said it was a
altered
vibrating
collar with
collar.
black tape and all on it, and it's been debunked. But anyway, Pokemon Pokimane and Lily Chu had done this press thing with him before, and it was all over the socials. Him in a picture of the three. That's why I'm mentioning him, because the picture of the three of them is out there where they were hanging out and everything, and they had recorded a podcast that was supposed to come out. But then Colorgate happened, and yes, that's what the Twitch people and the people all over the socials is calling it, Hassan's Collargate incident. Um, which I don't understand is actually so much stronger than anything he said with supporting the terrorists and everything else. I mean, like
It's
people,
impressive. This
it's
was the thing
impressive
that blew
how,
up.
that so many people are involved in this one. Okay, but anyway, Pokemon, her team or the team that does the podcast put out a notice that they weren't going to air it now because of the controversy or whatever. And Pokemon, right, got upset. Is okay, so go with the rest of the story.
Yeah. So she posted something basically saying, due to my employees at uh due to my employees, we won't. I wasn't able to post the
Podcast.
podcast, and so she's going to, I think she said something like reassess everything and restructure, and we all know
Right.
what restructuring means.
She's gonna
Um,
fire everybody that made the decision because she said they made it without her. Like they just
yes,
decided not to do it.
no,
But
and they protested it as well.
yeah, but does anybody actually think that is true? Like I don't think that's
Well,
true, number
the
one.
thing is, if that's the case, why hasn't she uploaded it yet?
Yeah, why didn't she
She's
do
the
it
one
anyway?
who,
Hmm.
yeah, she has ultimate control over everything.
Yes. But I think what had happened is that she got, once that notice hit, she got pushed back because she is friendly. They're all friendly with Hassan. And he probably called foul and said, like, how could you do that? You're making me look bad by not supporting me, which is reasonable. If he's doing streams with people and then all of a sudden they're pulling the streams, it looks like they think he's guilty, right? You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? So like they're contributing to the pile on with him, by backing away. And she probably thought that was reasonable, but she probably got outvoted. But instead of saying that, she actually took an antagonistic view out there and like threatened everybody. Like she was going to do some restructuring. And what happened is they all boycotted. They're all going to quit anyway. It said like, and now she looks really, really bad. Like she lost on all ends. She
Oh,
looked bad.
absolutely.
She looked bad to Hassan. She looked bad to her co-host and everybody on her team. She threw her own team under the bus. Which, if you're the head of the team, you should
Yeah.
be taking the hit, not your team. Okay, that was really poor on her end. That really looked like she doesn't have a spine, and she's not a very good leader. And she really doesn't deserve the team that she has. I don't blame them for revolting, to tell you the truth. Well, yeah. But you're right, that restructuring word, like, come on. If you're going to be that ballsy, show your balls. Say what it really means.
Yeah, just say what
I'm
you
pissed
mean.
off you made me look bad and I'm firing the whole damn team. It
Mm-hmm.
is exactly what it is. Y'all put me in a position that I was uncomfortable and I don't like the way it feels and I don't like the way it looks and I'm blaming you
I
because
would
I
not be.
can't.
You know what? I wouldn't actually be surprised if they actually had a team meeting about it and they said, why don't you just say that we did it? That way you're not going to get in trouble. And I actually think they might have honestly believed
It's true. That's
that
another
it
scenario
would
that
have,
could have happened. Yeah.
yeah, that it wouldn't look as bad if they took the fall for it.
Exactly. Because blame the people behind the scenes that they don't know exist, like they don't know their names or anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know. So yeah, that's possible. But I'll just say that Pokemon didn't come off looking good at all. It is. It didn't. It ended up that Hassan ended up getting more pressure anyway because it looked like he called her and put pressure on her. and that he was calling everybody that works with him to go out there and support him because he was on his stream whining about the lack of support of all the streamers. I mean, and I say whining with emphasis because I mean like whining, like whoa, it was nauseating.
You could
Yeah.
mistake him for a sommelier.
No, I couldn't ever. No, I couldn't ever. But anyway, no great love for the man, that's for sure. Because I hate people who are contrarian just to be contrarian. And when it comes down to it, he's too old to be the edge lord anymore. Like he ain't playing it well. Like he no. No, I have no tolerance for it whatsoever. The lack of accountability is astounding. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's handling this little crisis very well at all. It's just my personal opinion. Come at me if they must. Why bother? It's not going to do anything. Like, it's not going to change my mind. It's not going to make me shut up. Like, it's not going to change the situation that he's in. Like,
Nope.
so why bother? Seriously. But yeah, no, so I was surprised you hedged on mentioning his name, like of all the like why, like why, what, like
Yeah,
why?
thinking. Yeah, I'm not going to do that next time.
I mean, how do you actually tell the story without saying who the key component is about? Like, I mean, and if he's actually expecting all the creators out here to do that, that's a big ass. That's like impossible. Like, dude,
Mm-hmm.
just face it. Just get on with it. Face it. This is not going to go under the rug. It's too
He
big.
didn't break any laws
No,
to be honest. Like there is no law that says you're not allowed to use shock collars in America.
a lot of people use shock collars to train their dogs, and that's not the
Mm.
problem. Lying about it, shuffling about it, changing the story 10 times, trying to deny she was even wearing a collar when everybody has the pictures of the live with the collar on, then trying to
People
say,
are
oh no, it's
actually
a different collar.
photoshopping the collar and stuff now to try and make it. They're trying to astroturf the whole thing.
What, you mean make it like it's not there?
Yeah,
That's
people
so
are straight
ridiculous.
up like photoshopping pictures of the dog without the collar and putting it out to try and make it seem like the collar was never there.
You know, you know what? I get it. It's crazy though. This thing has totally blown up, and it really doesn't have anything to do with these 48 laws, because like I'm trying to figure out how being the person that has the skill here would even matter, except for that in this story, like you said, if the workers actually united and said like let's let her blame us, and so that she doesn't take the hit, that is a very strong power play in a team move, and I could see that happening. I could see that happening. That you know maybe that is what happened, or maybe she just bolted under the pressure. Who knows? It could be either one.
Yep.
We'll never know because, well, I mean, come on, what Twitch streamer do you know that's gonna go out there and tell us what it actually is? Like, no, it ain't gonna,
Exactly.
we ain't never gonna know. We are never ever gonna know. Like,
Nope.
well, no, they're not gonna tell us whatsoever. Well, but anyway, I think on that, I mean, what more can we actually? I mean, this was a tough one. And
It
I
was a tough
know
one.
you're probably tired of hearing that, everybody, because I say that about every single one that he's been making me do lately. Because I have to say, this book is a lot harder than the 50th law. I have to
Yes.
say, it is. It's a lot harder to relate to everyday life because it is very strict in working in, like you said, specifically business modules or group modules where you have a common goal, a common endeavor that you're working on. Then it works. Personal relationships, not so much. It needs a little tweaking. You know, um, but the point is to recognize, even if you cannot be the one in power, recognizing when that power is being used against you. uh is good. Information is always good to have. It is your best weapon.
Yes,
Yeah. So I'll take on that. Are we about ready to wrap it up?
I think we are.
Yeah. So on that, like, thank you everybody who joined us live on any of the platforms and in the chats. And for those of you that are watching but not chatting, feel free to comment on the video. Give us a like, give us a sub, comment, because both Rekkr and I want to hear from you. We do love hearing from you, whether you like
Absolutely.
it or not. It's all for the algorithm and interaction, but it is why we're out here to have the conversation. So we want to hear, from you about it whenever you can. So on that, we will be back in a week, same time,
Yep.
same
Same
place.
time,
What do
same
we? What do
place.
we? What is the chapter next week about? Should we dare? Yeah.
Ooh, the chapter next week. Okay, they're not. He's not making it any easier.
Oh, is it going to be another rough one? What are you doing to
Law
me next week?
12. Use selective honesty and generosity to disarm your victim.
Oh hell no! Manipulation. No man, I'm not gonna. You want me to do a positive stream on using manipulation for good?
I
This is
think
a
we're going to
bit.
have to spend the entire week studying it.
You're that's the AKA that I'll translate that for you people. Talking Claire off the ledge. That's what he just said. I'm spending the whole week talking Claire off the ledge because that is not something like I push back against that constantly. I hate that. I hate that. It's like
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. Yay,
Rocket
yes,
couch, yay,
rocket couch,
gaslighting.
yay, gaslighting. Whoa, we get to talk gaslighting next week. Yes. Hey, be prepared, people, because like Green's gonna be all for it, and the Bear's gonna be like, Green, can we have a conversation here? Like, can we just talk about this a little bit? Because I don't think so. It's gonna be hard to convince me when that's gonna be appropriately good. But if anybody can do it, Rekkr and Robert Green can. So we'll see. We'll see.
Oof. It'll be interesting.
It definitely. Yeah, we're getting to the good parts, Mouse. Like it's painful. It's painful. I can't. I don't know if I'm gonna survive this one, Mouse. I tell you, it turns me on my head often. But on that, thank you, Becker. I don't regret it. It is challenging, but I don't regret it. It's. We'll see if I make it through next week.
Mm-hmm.
On that one, I'm going to hit the button. Last words, Rec.
Um, uh, always have a good pair of scissors on you, because the bad ones never last, and you always lose them.
Mm, okay, I'm gonna have to think about that one. All right. Good night, everybody.